This is the culmination of years of training!
Y'all know what day it is? Ah, no, too creepy. Let's go with the other one.
Happy birthday!
There we go. Let's start the intro. Three, two, one, go! Hello, fellow people of the digital world. Jetty Blaze here, and welcome back to Monstober. And also, it's my birthday today, so yeah. And in celebration of my birthday, we're going to be talking about a subset of monsters that kind of is important to yours truly, mainly because that's how I portray myself online. We're going to be talking about the demons, the devils, and of course, a little bit of tieflings, because of course we gotta talk about tieflings. Though, before we end up talking about tieflings, let's get into what demons mean to me exactly. And, I mean, to be honest, demons kind of get a bad rap, because they're always seen as, like, always evil and stuff, and let's be honest, demons can make for good antagonism, but at the same time, there's more to them than just being evil, but we'll get more into that later. Let's start with some of the classical roots, like I did with vampires. Now, obviously, demons, everybody kind of knows, kind of stems from a lot of Christian mythology, though I learned recently, thanks to a YouTuber that I watch quite a bit of, the Green Scorpion, with his top 10 demons video. And might I say, beautiful thumbnail art, Oscar. Like, your thumbnail artist did amazing! As a tiefling, I say that it is tiefling approved. But either way, I found out that their origins come more from Zoroastrianism, and the term demon, or daimon, or however you want to say it, it's with an A. I remember that specific spelling from the old Golden Compass movie, slash His Dark Materials, that was not a good movie, let's be honest. I hear that His Dark Materials is really dark. Also, it ends very badly, but that's neither here nor there. But either way, it kind of comes from Zoroastrianism, and demons basically were just spirits. So, leave it to Christianity to basically turn something that just means casual spirit and, you know, making it into a monster. Thanks, Christianity. I feel like as I get older, I start to be more and more jaded towards Christianity and just kind of like, I don't know, just they say that they're all good and God is almighty, but we see a lot of atrocities in their history, and also just like, they're not exactly the nicest to the LGBT community, you know? Christianity, how about you stop being so homophobic and racist and transphobic? Like, I gave the 1800s crap about this 2 weeks ago. You have no excuse. But anyways, this kind of brings us to one of the most famous demons, that being Lucifer. Not to be confused with Satan, because Satan is the angel that is basically the right-hand man to God and basically judges in the original, like, Judeo-Christian mythology. Like, I feel like people kind of mix up Satan and Lucifer. It's like, oh, he questions God, and thus he's the same as Lucifer. no, that's not right, guys. But yeah. And admittedly, I find it interesting how, and we'll tie into this a little bit later, but basically that demons kind of have this whole humanity versus inhumanity thing. And it's kind of like what I was saying back 2 weeks ago when I was talking about My Babysitter's a Vampire, of the idea of, do you double down with this inherent evil, or do you reject it? And with Paradise Lost, made by Thomas Milton, you kind of see both. You know, you see that Lucifer is kind of the villain protagonist in all of this, and that's kind of his whole dealio, but we also see that, you know, he had some very, decent points of questioning God. Well, I say decent points, you get what I mean. That, he questioned God's absolutism, and that was why he got punished. Stuff. Isn't it just like a dad just punishing their children for questioning them one time? Yeah, I don't see that backfiring in your face. Oh, hi, Genos from Gurren Lagann. Anyways, I'm getting off topic again, but, basically, there's an interesting sort of dichotomy to the devil in Paradise Lost, where it's you see him as sort of this. Am I really gonna call Lucifer a wooby? You know what? I'm gonna call Lucifer a wooby. You see him as sort of this wooby character who's I was harmed by God, and now I'm taking my revenge. But then you also see yeah, this is, the devil and stuff like that. We also kind of see this a bit with Shin Megami Tensei. And, this is one thing that I kind of like with Shin Megami Tensei, is that, there's not a lot of good or evil in Shin Megami Tensei. It's always law or chaos or neutral. And honestly, I can kind of see Chaos's point, considering, and admittedly, there is a bit of a chaos bias from Atlas, but then again, I can understand that, considering, yeah, Japan isn't exactly the most accepting of Christianity. I mean, they do, but at the same time, they criticize it a lot. You know what I mean? But, Chaos basically just wants their own freedom from the control of God, and I mean, considering our current state in the year of 2024, and that we have actual fascists running for governments that basically want to tamp down on people's free will, yeah, I can understand putting in a little bit of chaos, But regardless, there's a lot of demon lords that are basically shown in different sources. You can look at, even something like Puyo Puyo, or, Legend of Zelda has their own demons. You have Demise and his reincarnation of Ganondorf. In Baldur's Gate 3, you have the villain Raphael. And that's a whole thing in of itself. There's a lot to that. And, those are basically generic demon lords. They're meant to be the big bad and just kind of deliciously evil. And we love them for it. You look at him from Powerpuff Girls and you're like, oh, this guy's a demon, but he is just chewing the scenery, and we love that sort of antagonism. Honestly, there's something about, a pure evil villain that just, oozes this panache, But looking at the other side of the coin, we have a lot of demon humanity, which is a little bit of a dichotomy, and we kind of see this a lot with half-demons as well. For example, there is our boy Dante. We do love Dante. And honestly, it's interesting because Dante and Virgil have their own little dichotomy going on with their own story, where it's Dante wants to fight the demons to make sure that nobody harms the humans, and does it in the name of his human half, while Virgil is basically doubled down on villainy, basically seeing humans as monstrous, And that's actually another thing that's very interesting, is the idea of humans kind of being more monstrous than demons. And I think that there's no place that displays that better than with Hellboy. Because we have, in Hellboy, we have the demon Hellboy, and we look at the first movie for Hellboy, and it's basically that Nazis basically tried to summon a demon, and they got Hellboy, and so then he got raised by this really nice scientist guy, who dies in the movie. But I find it interesting, considering that in his first movie outing, and admittedly I've never read the Hellboy comics, and I've only seen, like, the 3 Hellboy movies, but it seems like humans can be just as bad as the demons in that. To take a quote from Overly Sarcastic Productions, that Guillermo del Toro basically sees it that sometimes a monster is a person, and sometimes a person is a monster. And then sometimes a monster is a monster, but, you know. That's the main thing regarding it, is that we get to see humanity from this big, friendly, hulking demon that seems all gruff and stuff, but he has a heart of gold. Like, Hellboy is honestly a really fascinating character, and I really enjoy him a lot, even if I haven't read any of the Hellboy comics. And, you know, I look at Hellboy too, and people can be total jerks to Hellboy. Like, it seems like once he gets revealed, people kind of treat him like he's an other, and that's honestly not very fair to Hellboy. He's just trying to be a good guy, and even if he has, like, this prophecy of doom, he tries his best to keep himself from fulfilling that prophecy of doom, essentially. I don't know. I just really like Hellboy. I guess the one last thing that I should bring up is, because we've touched a little bit on demons as villains, demons as humans, let's touch a little bit on Tieflings, since, you know, I gotta mention Tieflings at least a little bit. I mean, it's in the title of the thing, Demons and Devils and Tiefs, oh my. Admittedly, I am counting devils and demons as kind of the same thing, but Tieflings get their own sort of thing. And that's mainly because, I love Tieflings so much. I remember the first time I really interacted with Tieflings in a book was when I first picked up the D&D 4th edition manual, and I just saw these really cool horned individuals with tails, and I'm like, oh my god, these are so cool. I love the designs of this. I don't know, it's like, I had no idea what they were, and I just looked at the horns and the tail, and I was like, this looks really cool. I like this. And honestly, I just really love the designs. And, like, going into, like, demon and tiefling designs, they are really cool. I think that the curved horns look very fascinating and exotic. And then, and admittedly, this is kind of like, I have my own sort of design draws, essentially, where you have, whenever you have, like, a human-like character with some sort of weird other piece to them, like, for example, you look at, like, the Twi'leks from Star Wars, and, you know, they have the long twin tails, essentially. Like, Twi'leks are definitely my favorite Star Wars race, and then by that logic, you can also assume and be right that the Asari from Mass Effect are my favorite in those. I don't know, I just like the look of really cool, alien-looking human designs, I guess. Just change the color of their skin to something not human-like, and give them the cool head appendages, and you've got a good, look from me, you know? And admittedly, like, the whole thing of, like, me designing my character to be a tiefling, you know, my avatar and such, was mainly because of... It was mainly inspired off of the character of Jester, because I had been seeing a lot of Jester fan art, and while I have not watched Critical Role at all, so I don't really know much about her character, I just love how quirky she is, and it just made me think of, like, yeah, I could do that sort of quirky tiefling sort of thing and not be, like, this being with cursed knowledge. And to be perfectly honest, from what I can gather, tieflings are really good, for LGBT representation because of being seen as sort of this other, because of who you are, who you choose to be, that sort of dark path that people see you and they stigmatize you for. Honestly, just tieflings are fun, and they are very important. Because being seen as the outcast, yet having this community that you can be in where, you know, we may all be outcasts, but we stick together and we treat each other like family. Like, that's an important thing. That's basically what I want to make the Jenny Blaze channel to be, is something that people can express themselves here and be kind and be just a fun bunch of outcast nerds with each other, you know? And yeah, that's part of why I made my my character a tiefling, because tieflings make for good LGBT representation. And yeah. Also, the reason why, I mean, besides being based off of Jesker, the reason why my tiefling has blue skin is mainly just because blue is my favorite color. There's not much to it besides that. I like blue, and so why not have my character avatar be blue? Why not? Anyways, I think I've talked for long enough. So yeah, come back next week when we get to talk about the also spooky topics of the spectral realm. But either way, until next time, folks, this is the Tiefling of Trouble, Jenny Blaze, saying, shine on, ghoulies and ghoulettes!